March 17, 1941. A cold, gray dawn stretches over the restless North Atlantic. Commander Donald McIntyre stands rigid on the bridge of HMS Walker. 41 merchant vessels plow eastward through 30-foot swells, carrying Britain's lifeline, food, fuel, and ammunition. Unseen, at least 5 German U-boats circle like predators. Tonight, the hunted might finally strike back. By 1940, German U-boats had sunk 471 Allied merchant vessels. 2.5 million tons of essential cargo sent to the ocean floor. Every month, submarines destroyed ships faster than Britain could build replacements. Depth charges, the Royal Navy's primary defense, had a confirmed kill rate of just 3%. Doctrine dictated standard depth settings designed for World War I submarines. German Type 7 U-boats could dive to 750 feet. They knew exactly how to escape. Lieutenant Commander Frederick John Walker was born June 3, 1996, in Plymouth. Naval blood ran through 3 generations. By 1940, Walker should have been an admiral, but instead he was a frustrated lieutenant commander, watching ship after ship burn as U-boats slipped away. What he had were notebooks, pages filled with calculations, sketches, probability matrices. He asked a simple but dangerous question: what if we're using depth charges all wrong? Unlike anyone else, he didn't just theorize, he measured, observed, and calculated. December 1940, North Atlantic. HMS Volunteer attacks a U-boat contact and releases 10 depth charges. Nothing. Walker reviews the track chart. Standard procedures fail because submarines turn, dive, and exploit blind spots in doctrine. One simple turn of 90 degrees, one dive at 280 feet per minute, and the U-boat vanishes. Walker submits a proposal: 2-ship coordination. One ship tracks the U-boat at slow speed, radioing updates. The other makes the attack, adjusting depth charges according to the target's movement. Response: denied. Twice, thrice. Doctrine cannot be broken, no exceptions. Someone noticed the numbers. Commander Gilbert Roberts, head of the Western Approaches Tactical Unit, runs simulations. Walker's method more than doubles the probability of a kill. Roberts shows the results to Admiral Noble. Decision: allow Walker to experiment at sea without changing official rules. March 8, 1941, west of Ireland. HMS Stork releases modified depth charge patterns. Oil slicks erupt. Debris floats to the surface. The submarine surfaces, her crew scrambling, hands raised in surrender. 5 days later, HMS Walker and HMS Vanek attack U-100, commanded by Joachim Schepke, Germany's second highest scoring ace. Coordinated tracking, modified depth charges, Vanek rams the submarine, cutting it in half. Schepke dies. 2 of Germany's top aces eliminated in a single night using forbidden methods. From April to December 1941, Walker obsessively refines his technique. After every attack, he interviews crews, analyzes sonar tapes, calculates blast effects. May 1941, HMS Rochester forces U-47 to surface using Walker's new settings. Confirmed kill. June, HMS Gladiolus switches from standard doctrine mid-battle. Result: U-boat surfaces with catastrophic flooding. The numbers speak for themselves. 1940, 334 attacks, 11 kills, 3.3% success. January to March 1941, 147 attacks, 5 kills, 3.4%. April to December 1941, 289 attacks, 22 kills, 7.6%. More than double the effectiveness thanks to Walker's insight and persistence. By June 1943, Walker, commanding the 2nd Support Group aboard HMS Starling, perfects the creeping attack. 2 ships, one maintains contact at slow speed, the other creeps forward, guided by radio. The U-boat never hears the attack until depth charges bracket its position. No escape. June 24, 1943, Bay of Biscay. Walker's group detects U-119. Standard attack would fail. Walker's method? Flawless execution. The submarine is caught. Depth charges pound. Nowhere to hide. Walker's innovation becomes the foundation of anti-submarine warfare tactics, saving thousands of lives and changing the Battle of the Atlantic. Lieutenant Commander Frederick John Walker, a lower-ranking officer with inconvenient ideas, defied bureaucracy, risked his career, and saved lives. His modifications, once banned, became standard. His ingenuity, observation, and courage turned a nearly impossible fight into a strategic victory.
By late 1943, the German Navy was feeling the pressure. U-boat commanders whispered tales of the elusive creeping death, Walker's 2nd Support Group. They spoke of coordinated attacks so precise that even the most skilled submariners found themselves trapped in a deadly game of cat and mouse. Intelligence reports confirmed the pattern. The Atlantic was no longer theirs to dominate. Walker's methods weren't just tactics, they were psychological warfare. U-boat crews began second-guessing every maneuver, every dive. The constant threat of Walker's ships lurking, silently calculating, meant that even when they escaped, their confidence was shattered. Confidence, after all, is the lifeblood of any naval officer. Without it, mistakes multiply. On the morning of September 14, 1943, HMS Starling and HMS Kite patrolled the western approaches. Radar picked up a faint blip, U-592, prowling near a convoy. Walker's instructions were simple: maintain contact, adjust depth charges, no premature attacks. Hours passed. The sun dipped low. And then, at the perfect moment, the creeping attack commenced. A series of depth charges detonated around the submarine with surgical precision. U-592 surfaced, damaged, and surrendered. Another victory for the tactics Walker had honed to perfection.
By spring 1944, Walker's influence reached beyond the Atlantic. Naval training manuals were revised to incorporate his strategies. Officers trained in the art of creeping attacks, coordinated tracking, and precise depth charge deployment. Walker had institutionalized his innovation. What started as a single officer's obsession had reshaped anti-submarine warfare across the Royal Navy. September 1944, HMS Starling encounters U-482 near the Bay of Biscay. Walker's plan is textbook. One ship holds sonar contact, another attacks. Depth charges adjusted based on speed, depth, and previous evasive patterns. After an intense chase through the choppy waters, U-482 surfaces, its hull battered, crew exhausted, resistance broken. Victory after victory was building a reputation that even the Kriegsmarine could not ignore. But Walker's work wasn't merely about tactics. He understood the human dimension of naval warfare. Morale, leadership, and communication were as critical as guns and sonar. He spent hours debriefing crews, learning from mistakes, and acknowledging acts of bravery. For Walker, every sailor mattered. Every life saved or lost carried weight. And it was this dedication that fueled the Second Support Group's relentless effectiveness. The tide of the Atlantic began to turn. German U-boat operations became riskier, less effective. Convoys reached Britain with supplies intact more often than not. Walker's methods had proven decisive. By the time D-Day approached in June 1944, the U-boat threat had been substantially neutralized, allowing the Allied invasion of Normandy to proceed with less risk from submarines. Walker's innovations had helped reshape the course of the war itself. Walker's legacy is not just measured in the ships sunk or the U-boats destroyed. It lies in the countless lives saved, the merchant sailors who reached home ports safely, the soldiers whose equipment arrived on time, the civilian populations sustained through war. His brilliance, determination, and courage exemplified the difference one person can make when rules are questioned and innovation is pursued relentlessly. As the war ended, Walker retired, but his techniques lived on. The Royal Navy continued to teach anti-submarine warfare based on his tactics. Generations of naval officers learned from his methods, ensuring that no adversary would easily dominate the seas again. He became a quiet hero, a man whose genius was measured not in accolades, but in results and the lives preserved through his unwavering commitment to excellence. Today, the Atlantic remembers him not as a man seeking glory, but as a strategist, a mentor, and a visionary. Frederick John Walker, a name whispered in naval history as the man who turned the tide against the U-boats, reminding us that even in the darkest waters, courage and innovation can chart a path to victory.